Welcome to Iraqi Dinar News. Today's report centers on one of the most anticipated developments in Iraq's modern economic journey, a moment many believe could change the financial future of the nation. As speculation swirls around Iraq's internal legislation and its potential effect on the Iraqi dinar, we're breaking down what's quietly been happening behind the scenes in Baghdad. This isn't just a routine political update, it may be the turning point that citizens and international observers have long awaited. Let's unpack what's really going on and why it matters. Amidst the backdrop of Iraq's storied past and its vast natural resources, a silent but intense political buildup has emerged. The nation is once again at the crossroads of opportunity and uncertainty, with one critical legislative issue dominating the conversation: the long-delayed oil and gas law. For years, the debate over how to fairly distribute the country's enormous energy wealth has gripped political leaders, regional factions, and foreign investors. Now we are hearing whispers, firm, consistent ones, that this pivotal law has finally moved forward, but not in the spotlight. It's said to have been passed discreetly, away from public view. The weight of this legislation is massive. For over 15 years since the early 2000s, every administration has faced pressure to settle the dispute over oil management between Baghdad and the Kurdish regional government. The law isn't merely about barrels and contracts. It's about power, trust, and economic direction. Who controls production? Who authorizes foreign partnerships? Who receives the revenue? These questions have haunted every negotiation table since the fall of Saddam Hussein. Yet now, it seems an unannounced breakthrough has taken place. International observers and local officials alike have hinted at mounting urgency. Diplomatic language has grown unusually direct. Foreign energy companies are holding off on deeper investment until a reliable legal framework is in place. Behind the scenes, it's believed that global financial institutions, including the IMF and World Bank, are applying additional pressure. Their message is said to be straightforward: pass this law to unlock broader reforms tied to economic stability and financial credibility. This brings us to what many viewers are anxiously following: the future of the Iraqi dinar. For over a decade, there's been a persistent belief that the dinar's value is tethered to major structural reforms, particularly the oil and gas law. Currently, the dinar trades at around $1,300, a significant drop from its historical standing. Many Iraqis and foreign investors suspect that a major revaluation is not only possible but inevitable once foundational laws are in place. According to an unnamed Iraqi economist, internal chatter among policymakers continues to point to one consistent trigger: the passage of the oil and gas law. The logic follows a clear line. If oil revenue is transparently and equitably managed, if political factions can finally agree on distribution, and if foreign entities view Iraq as a safe and fair market, then confidence in the currency will increase. That confidence, in turn, may be the fuel needed for the revaluation that has long eluded the public. The economist went further, suggesting that the revaluation won't be a slow climb, but rather a swift, comprehensive shift. But for everyday Iraqis, this is about more than economic theory. It's about survival. A school teacher from Baghdad shared a sobering reality: I earn in dinars, but almost everything I buy feels priced in dollars. If the dinar gains value, maybe I can finally breathe, maybe even save. These stories echo across communities, from Basra to Mosul, where residents live under economic pressure despite the country's wealth. Still, there's reason to be cautious. Iraq's recent history is filled with false starts, shelved bills, and dashed hopes. Every major legislative win has come with delays, disputes, and political infighting. This fuels concerns that talk of a revaluation could be more about controlling public sentiment than delivering tangible results. Could this simply be a tactic to buy time or to manage unrest? That remains a possibility, and it's one that many do not ignore. Yet, something in the atmosphere has changed. There are consistent rumors of confidential meetings between American and Iraqi officials, with additional participation from Gulf countries. The regional stakes are enormous. A stable and prospering Iraq means a stronger, more secure Middle East. These allies may be offering both incentives and pressure behind closed doors to ensure the law doesn't stall again. The most striking part of this entire scenario is that so much hinges on a single piece of legislation. In most nations, a law around oil management wouldn't dominate national attention. But in Iraq, where so much of the economy and governance depends on oil revenue, this law could be the difference between ongoing hardship and a genuine revival. It is in many ways the gatekeeper of progress. The oil and gas law isn't just a technical fix, it represents Iraq's shot at stability, economic renewal, and, ultimately, global reintegration. If the law has indeed been passed behind closed doors, as many sources now suggest, Iraq could soon enter a transformative phase. Quiet negotiations may have paved the way for the biggest economic reset the country has seen in decades. For global financial institutions, this silent move may serve as the green light to increase support, funding, and confidence in Iraq's markets. And for those watching the Iraqi dinar, this could be the event that finally sets off a chain reaction. Revaluation of a national currency is no small feat. It involves far more than adjusting numbers on a central bank ledger. It requires economic stability, legal frameworks, investor trust, and macro-level reforms. But if the oil and gas law has truly passed, and if its implementation includes transparency, revenue-sharing mechanisms, and anti-corruption safeguards, then the conditions for a dinar revaluation may have quietly begun taking shape. That's not to say change will come overnight. Implementation will still take time. Local governments will need to align with Baghdad. Contracts may need to be reviewed or renegotiated. Yet the foundation will finally exist. This shift could reignite stalled infrastructure projects, improve public services, and attract foreign investment that has been hesitant due to Iraq's legal limbo. In real-world terms, a stronger dinar means more purchasing power for Iraqis. It means families who have long struggled with rising prices might finally see relief. Teachers like Ahmed from Baghdad could begin saving again instead of watching their salaries erode against imported goods. The emotional weight of this shift is profound. It's about dignity, not just economics. But while the optimism is real, caution remains essential. The Iraqi people have endured cycles of hope and disappointment. In the past, announcements were made with great fanfare, only for the promised reforms to vanish under political pressure or foreign interference. That's why this time, even as rumors point to progress, many are urging restraint. It's not enough to pass a law. What matters most is enforcement and follow-through. Some observers are also raising red flags about potential resistance. Internal factions benefiting from the current system may attempt to slow or block full implementation. Corruption remains a major hurdle, and if old power structures feel threatened, they may sabotage parts of the reform process. It's not a matter of if but when these forces push back. Still, having the legislation approved, even in secrecy, provides a legal and political anchor for change. It's also worth noting that the international response to this news could become a major catalyst. The moment foreign markets and banks confirm that Iraq has passed a functional oil and gas law and is pursuing real financial reform, global currency analysts and investment firms may reevaluate Iraq's position. This would further strengthen the dinar by improving market confidence and possibly opening Iraq to more favorable trade and financial arrangements. The alignment between the passage of this law and dinar revaluation may be more than just theory. Historical patterns suggest that currencies tend to respond favorably when underlying laws governing wealth, contracts, and governance are clearly established and respected. That's why many economic observers believe that the silent passing of the oil and gas law is not just a bureaucratic move, it may be the beginning of a monetary turning point. Meanwhile, former President Trump and American officials have reportedly expressed interest in Iraq's energy and financial future. Though little has been made public, some diplomatic analysts suggest that Washington sees Iraq's stability as critical to broader Middle East strategy. If true, American political and economic backing could reinforce the recent changes, particularly if tied to further support from Gulf countries. And there's another dimension here: public morale. Iraqi citizens for years have carried the weight of inflation, poor services, and economic stagnation. If they begin to see tangible improvements, even small ones, the psychological shift alone could reignite national pride. That kind of public energy is powerful. It pushes governments to keep reforms moving and encourages diaspora Iraqis to re-engage with their homeland, bringing back skills, capital, and ambition. Still, as of the current date in the USA, the dinar has yet to reflect any official revaluation. The Central Bank of Iraq has not announced changes to the currency rate, but that may be part of the strategy. By moving quietly, officials might be hoping to avoid market shock or speculation until the legal and institutional groundwork is locked in. In the world of economics, timing and silence often walk hand in hand. So now, the question remains, has Iraq truly turned a corner, or is this just another brief glimmer in a cycle of prolonged struggle? Time will tell. But one thing is certain: the silent passage of the oil and gas law could become the loudest moment in Iraq's economic history, and if it leads to the long-awaited revaluation of the dinar, the world may look back on this quiet move as the start of something monumental. Until then, Iraq waits, the people hope, and the dinar stagnant so long may finally be preparing to rise. If you've been following these updates with us, stay tuned. At Iraqi Dinar News, we'll continue tracking every development that matters to your financial future and Iraq's economic transformation. Thank you for your continued support. Stay informed, stay hopeful, and as always, let's move forward with patience and clarity.